Hi guys, welcome to the first album review on this channel. It is going to be none other than Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish. So obviously Billie Eilish is one of the biggest artists in the world. Fair warning, fair potential bias. I will be going to see her in October when she comes through. I am a big Billie Eilish fan. I'm a big Phineas fan, and I was very excited to hear what this had to say in terms of music. So we'll just get right into it. So first up, we got production. I gave it a 9.5. So almost a 10, but I gave it a 9.5 because I do feel bouncing back from what her last album was, Happier Than Ever. I do think there were a few moments where I'd heard a few synths, I had heard a few drum lines, I'd heard a few just general vibes and sounds that they tried on Happier Than Ever. And they kind of perfected it now. Phineas kind of perfected that vibe that he was going for certain tracks now, which is obviously good. But I thought just that point 0.5 was just because we could have had just a little bit of a little slice of something extra new. But otherwise, I think Phineas is a great producer, and I think he deserves a 9.5 on this album. I need to stop saying please give me an advice if you have advice for me to stop saying But going to the second category, vocals and lyrics. Again, going back to Happier Than Ever, my first criticism for that album was that I didn't think any of Billie's vocals were her challenge herself. I didn't think anything that she was doing was really vocally different from just, yeah, I can sing and I'm just going to give you a little bit of singing. But this album, granted, again, Phineas is a great producer, so I'm sure he kind of had some tweaking and engineering and things like that that added to it. But I do think Billie had a great vocal performance throughout this entire album. Obviously, she's known for kind of her whisper and kind of her gentle, soft sound, but she did crank it up on a few different tracks on the album. And I thought that was something that deserved a 5. And I gave her a 4 for lyrics because there were a few songs like Lunch that were just, their vibe, right? They're hitting a certain sound. Even Skinny, super hitting, hard hitting song. From a lyrics standpoint, Happier Than Ever. It's a very specific sound. I can't give it a 5 because obviously I'm not relating to all of the things that she's saying. But I'm sure if you ask somebody else, they might give them a 5 out of 5 for both. But to round it up, a 5 and a 4, giving their 9 total in that vocal and lyric category. Now we have album cohesion, empty tracks. I gave, oh God, sorry. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I really only think The Diner is the only kind of fall off track. I think everything else is 10 out of 10, but I think The Diner, again, going back to Happier Than Ever, I think The Diner sounds like something that they could have put on Happier Than Ever. So it's a great song. It still is good. I just think the sound landscape of it belonged on Happier Than Ever more than it belonged on Hit Me Hard and Soft. And we go into sound originality. Again, with Billy and Phineas, I think they're battling themselves right now. So I gave it a 9 just due to the fact that Phineas has a specific sound when he's working with Billy, which is great. But again, I think I've heard him even venture off on his own solo albums a little bit more and taking a little bit more risks. And I think they could have just done just a little bit more of a let's test the waters with this sound. But again, the album is great, so I understand why they didn't because they didn't miss. I was just hoping that they just took a little bit of a bigger swing on a few different ideas. And then last but not least, quality and care. I gave it a 10. Even Billy said with the last album, they were just kind of strolling through it because they knew how big they were, they knew how popular they were, they knew everything that they were going to put out was going to be eaten up. Granted, it didn't really get ate up, but I think that kind of humbled them and brought them back down to what they needed to sit down and think about, which is how do we really create music again. So I gave it a 10 out of 10 for quality and care because I do feel that they really locked in and really went for what they wanted. Overall, I gave it a 93. So again, 9.5, 9, 9, 9, and 10 across all 5 categories. Multiply that too. She ended up getting a 93. So that is obviously a very high scoring album. I personally think that it is a high scoring album. It's probably my number one album of the year so far, and we're about halfway through the year. I think this is a great piece of work. I think if you are willing to listen to a little bit more alternative, a little bit more of a different landscape, a different soundscape, I think you should give this album a listen. So again, to round it all out, Billie Eilish, Hit Me Hard and Soft, you got a 93. Stay tuned for the next album. Let me know if you want to hear anything. If you enjoyed the video, I'm happy that you did. I'll see you next time.